Hello and welcome to Conversations with Cheryl, a podcast where women can be seen, heard, validated, and supported. Simulcast YouTube, Instagram, and Anchor FM. Thank you so much for watching, and don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. And welcome to Conversations with Cheryl, a podcast where women can be seen, validated, and supported. And today I am so glad to be joined by Lady K, Lady Katina Collins. Hey. She looks just as excited as she seems. So listen, we are so happy to have you here with us for this particular episode where we're talking about rediscovering ourselves after 40. And like I told you earlier, I've been watching some of the things that you post on YouTube and some of the stuff that you've been doing. So tell us a bit about your journey in that space.
Just where do I start? So pretty much this year turned over a new leaf for me. Last year I started dealing with some health challenges. Let me just back up. I've been in ministry for a minute with my husband, working with women in ministry, just trying to help build women in ministry. But something was missing in my life and, trying to discover my purpose. Let me say that, trying to discover my purpose. You go through the motion, you're the pastor's wife, there's this expectation of you. So a lot of us, if we'll be honest, we just kind of go through the motion in life where we think we're supposed to be. So last year, my life kind of took a big turn when I started having some pain in my knees and my blood pressure was through the roof. I was on 3 blood pressure medications. My weight had increased. I thought I was happy, but I think later on I discovered I really wasn't happy. I was just going through the motion, right? Trying to make myself be happy. So I went to the doctor and doctor after doctor, rheumatologists, orthopedic doctors, and the doctor came back and told me I had something called rhabdomyosis, and which pretty much was a muscle breakdown in your body, and it would cause like a fluid to leak over into your kidneys. And he told me, he said, there's a possibility within a year you're going to be in a wheelchair because the pain was so bad. My knees were like, they would swell up so big and I would stand up and I would cry, many visits to the emergency room. So I remember going to my best friend and I told her, I said, I think I might have a tummy tuck and some fat reduction. And she looked at me, she said, start drinking water and start walking. I was like, yeah, that might work for you, but I know me, I like cheesecake. So I'm going to just, I'm going to do it. And she said, no, Kay, just give it a try. Increase your water and start walking. So I started doing that. And the more I was walking, I was literally out there. I started on that journey with people, Cheryl, with Minister Cheryl. And then before I knew it, the people were gone and I was doing it by myself. But I would be out there and I probably would be walking like a half a mile and I would be crying because I was in so much pain. But I kept telling God, there's got to be a purpose in this pain. I literally, that was my conversation. I'm going through this pain. I'm always a happy person. I'm the cheerleader. I'm the pusher. Why am I going through this now when I've been the person that's been pushing everybody? So I would get out there and I would walk, and then I have another friend who runs marathons. I got all these healthy friends, right? That wasn't me, but all my friends are healthy. I have another friend who runs marathon, and she said, come join this hiking group with me. And can I just be honest what I said? I said, Black people don't hike. I ain't getting out there because Black people don't hike. And she said, girl, we can do whatever we want to do. She said, get rid of that mindset and just come join me. I said, well, I'll go with you, but I'm not going to go because I don't know about all that climbing no hills and stuff. We don't do all that. So as I was walking, as my friend had, instructed me to, I noticed my walking got better. I went from being able to do like a half a mile to 3/4 of a mile. And before I knew it, I was doing a whole mile. And it just kept going on and on. So my friend said, well, let's do urban hikes. And we started hiking around, like we did what we call connect the bayous. We would walk Buffalo Bayou, White Oak Bayou, whatever bayou there was that connected to downtown, we would connect those bayous. And I would also walk the trails in my neighborhood. So as time went on, she said, well, I'm going to put you in this group. Can I say the name of the group?
Yeah.
I'm going to put you in this group called Houston Women's Hiking Group. So I get in there and I see all these people who don't look like me who are in this group and they're hiking everywhere. And I'm like, okay, I'll give it a try. So she invited me to a hike and I got out there and I'm thinking, this is pretty good. I really like this. So now I got hiking boots on and I got hiking pants and I got hiking poles. And people think, where are you hiking in Houston? Because we don't have mountains. We don't have mountains, but we have parks that have hills,
Mm-hmm.
like they're mountain bike hills. So I got out there and I started doing that, and it became a daily routine. Before I go to work, I get up at 6 in the morning and go hiking. When I get off work, I hit the trail by my house. And when I went back to my doctor, he said, I don't know what you're doing. He said, but whatever you're doing, keep doing it. He said, because your numbers are decreasing. So then I went to see this orthopedic doctor who told me, you don't have rhabdomyosis. Your results said that you have it, but what I see is you have a torn ACL, but it's not too bad to where we need to do surgery. He said, which is crazy because all of the results that you have point to rhabdomyosis, but now you're switching over to you just have a torn ACL. And he started talking about, let me give you these shots. And I'm like, no shot. Maybe, we can inject some cartilage in there, no injections. I don't want you to put a needle anywhere in me. So I increased my walking and my hiking. And as I was doing it, it turned out it was for health, but it was helping me in my mind. Because
Wow.
for one, I'm doing something for me and I'm not relying on somebody to fix me. It's me and God. It's like, Lord, okay, you have me in this place. I need you to heal me because you told me that faith without works is dead. I'm believing that you're going to heal me, but I'm going to work my faith and I'm going to get out there and I'm going to continue to do my part. I'm going to lose some weight and I'm going to keep on going. So in April, when I went to my doctor from February to April, well, I've been back up from September last year to April, I lost 57 pounds.
Wow.
All I did was
Just walking.
hiking in these hiking groups. I mean, I hike anywhere now from, I won't go anywhere if I do less than 3 miles, but the most that I've done is 11 miles in a day. And that's at one time. So I increased my hiking. I increased my fluid intake. I'm literally conscious of what I eat. I still eat cheesecake. I still eat what I want, but I'm very, I can't give up the cheesecake, but I'm very conscious of where I came from so that I don't go back there. And so I remember earlier this year, my husband ministered to me and he said to me, he prophesied to me, he said that the Lord is going to open up doors for you to go in arenas with people who are not like you. He said, but you can't be judgmental going into this arena. You have to have an open mind and an open heart, and you have to be willing to receive whatever it is. And so sure enough, when I got into this group, I met women of all walks of life. It's all women, 13,000 women in this group, all walks of life. And I'm going to be honest, going in, I was a bit judgmental in some things. And after just spending time with people who I don't know and who's not my normal people, I started finding out so much about myself, not them, about myself. And I'm like, these ladies are just out here just walking and enjoying life. And so I looked at it as initially it was my health, but then it became spiritual for me. It became spiritual and it became mental. And I realized I had given up so much of my life taking care of everybody else that I neglected to take care of myself. I had become who everybody said I needed to be, and I wasn't true to who I needed to be. And out here hiking and, helping build women, I discovered who I really was in that.
Wow. Listen, there is so much to unwrap in that story. First of all, the ways that we tend to put ourselves in a box. We hear a lot of things, especially as women of color. Oh, well, we don't do that, or we don't do that. But how do you know if you've never tried?
Exactly.
And we all the time, I hear these things all. We don't swim. What do you mean?
I can't swim, but I sure go to the water.
I can't either.
I go to the water.
But I'm like you. But it's amazing how we limit ourselves based on what society has somehow implanted in us about what we can and what we can't do and what's not a norm for our culture. And then I heard you talk about the whole piece as soon as you started, after you kind of started healing yourself with God, then
Yeah.
all of a sudden they want to start giving injections and shots. And it's like, well, no, maybe there's some other holistic way that I can help to heal myself or deal with my wellness. And a lot of times we don't have those spaces, especially as women of color, where we can even have a conversation about, you know, alternative ways or things outside of man-made medications that can help us with our whole wellness.
We want a quick fix. That, to
Mhm.
be honest, we want a quick fix. Nobody really want to put in the work for it. I'm very transparent about this. In 2011, I had weight loss surgery. And
Mm.
going through life, I gained the weight back because I started, not all of it, because I was like right at 300 pounds when I had the surgery.
Mhm.
But going through life, I stopped taking care of me because there was, my parents, my father was sick, my in-laws was sick, and I'm the nurturer, I'm the caretaker. So I would take care of all these people. I would take them to the doctor when I wouldn't take myself. I was
Mm.
making sure they were medicated when I wasn't medicating myself. So I did all this, and then, I realized next year I'm going to be 50 years old. And I don't want to be that person that I have to rely on my husband or my children to push me around or take care of me. When I had to put my father in a nursing home, I thought it wasn't putting him in a nursing home because we didn't want to take care of him. It was just way more than we could handle.
Mhm.
But just the thought of having to be put in a nursing home because nobody wants to take care of you. Let's just be honest.
Right, right.
Just that thought was enough to motivate me. And um, getting out there and seeing how people responded. Like I say, I have a natural high, so I'm excited all the time. Like if you
Yeah.
catch me down, I'm not gonna stay there too long. It's just my personality. But getting out there and see how people were responding to just my presence, not in a place of feeling to be needed, but just to make them smile.
Mhm.
Oh
Mhm.
my God, you're always smiling. Oh, I need to be around your energy. That kind of stuff is good for you. And I
Yeah.
thought if I kept myself in a box, I wouldn't have known how valuable my smile was. I
Right.
wouldn't have known
Right.
how valuable just spending time with others was because we have our arenas that we tend to hang around. We
Mhm.
don't get
Mhm.
outside of our
Absolutely.
circle. And this was definitely outside of the box. And it was that in itself was healing for me. It was healing for me.
So that's one of the things that this podcast is all about, and that's why I called it Conversations with Cheryl, because a lot of times we don't open ourselves up for conversations and for dialogue with others, especially other people that are not necessarily in our sphere of influence. So, how was that for you to just become a part of something that was kind of bigger than what you was your norm?
I'm a social butterfly.
Okay.
I can I
Okay.
can get in any arena and I can and I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing sometimes, but it's rare that I can walk into a room and meet a stranger.
Yeah.
So I have a very discerning spirit. If we don't click, we just don't click. And if we
Right.
do, even if we don't, I'm gonna make the best of it until we depart from each other's presence. But just getting out there and finding out the thing that we all had in common was we wanted to hike. And then
Mm.
before you know it, it turned into we were sharing children's stories and we were sharing husband stories and we're sharing life stories. And, even being a Christian out there, because I do hike with some people who are atheists. I
Mhm.
do hike with people who live alternative lifestyles. I hike with people who are in all walks of life. So the thing for me was, wow, I get to share the love of God, not be judgmental, and be okay with being people who's not like me.
Mhm.
Those were the things I'm like, isn't that what the Lord called us to go out into the world and to make a difference? And so that's what I saw it as. In the church, everybody in the church got it together. So get out the church and go deal with some people who don't have it together. And just being able to encourage people. People ask me this question: do you invite them into your church? I've never invited them to my church.
Mhm.
Never. But what I do go out there and do, if somebody say pray for me, I'll pray. If
Right.
somebody say, oh, I just need, I'm going through something, I can encourage, because guess what? I'm bringing my church to them outside. And
Exactly.
so I looked at it as it's bigger than just bringing them inside of a building, but it's a time for us to all heal mind, body, and spirit.
Listen, that that is so amazing, because you're right. We spend a lot of time within the four walls of our churches, and to me, it's and of course you want people to come, but to me, it's sort of like preaching to the choir. The people that actually need us, and not saying that the people in the church don't, but the people that could generally use what we have are people that are outside on the street corners and sometimes in the clubs and I just, anywhere other than in those four walls. So I think it's important for us to find ways like you have to connect with people that we might not otherwise connect with and still be able to share the gospel message with them in unconventional and untraditional ways.
And I think many won't agree with me on this, but to each his own. I shared with somebody just this morning. If nobody ever that I meet ever step foot into my church after I minister to them, as long as they're saved, that's all that matters to me.
Mhm.
It doesn't matter to me where they go. I just don't want to see anybody that I have come in contact with go to hell. And that's where I stand. It's bigger than just getting them inside of a building and doing whatever. It's about their soul. So if this is the way that the Lord is allowing me to operate in this season, get out there, hike, I'm benefiting, they're benefiting, we all benefiting. And
Yeah.
that's the way that I look at it. I know you probably see that I'm doing all these TikTok videos or whatever,
Yep.
but
And
let
I
me tell
love
you,
them.
and let me tell you, it didn't start out that way. I've always loved to dance, but when I was doing it, I bore easy. So when I would hike by myself, I would prop my phone up and I would do a TikTok video. And it was for me to give me something to do so that my hiking would have become boring. And who would have ever known that doing that? Now I have groups of women every time we go hiking. Are we gonna TikTok? Are we gonna dance? And I'm just here to hike. But it's bonding and it's letting people be people and it's healing. It
Mhm.
really is healing. People say social media, it's healing for people because you don't know what people are going through.
Yeah.
And just that 30 seconds of laughter and joy, laughter and excitement, it makes a difference in somebody's life.
It really does. It really does. I don't, like you said, to each his own, but there's we all have a purpose, we all have a place. And when we find that, it's amazing. What was that journey like for you? Because you sound like myself and so many other women where we spend a lot of time and unfortunately a lot of wasted time trying to live up to what everybody else says you should be or what the expectation, trying to fit into that expectation as opposed to who we really are at our core. What was that like for you when you kind of finally got that kind of aha?
I had to tear down a lot of thoughts. I had
Mhm.
to tear down a lot of thoughts because I realized I was not functioning as me. I was
Mhm.
functioning as a little bit of who my children thought I needed to be, who my husband thought I needed to be, who people in the church thought I needed to be, and people who opinions probably didn't really shouldn't have mattered. I tried to become everything that everybody wanted me to be, and I lost myself in the process.
Mhm.
Even in that process, it made me have a little bit of low self-esteem because I felt
Yeah.
like I wasn't meeting up to everybody else's standards.
Mhm.
And once I truly had a come to Jesus meeting, and me and him, and like I say, the trail saved my life. Let me just be honest. The hiking trail saved my life because there was days I got out there and I cried like, Lord, I don't know who I am. And that was this year. That was this year. I don't know who I am. What am I supposed to be doing? Okay, I'm the first lady. I'm over the women's ministry. This is what I'm supposed to be doing. I'm hurting. People are hurting me. I'm not saying anything because I don't want to make anybody mad. I need you to strengthen me and I need you to help me rise up out of this situation. I'm gonna keep saying it. The trail saved my life. And so it would be days I would be out there and I would see simple things. So in my community, well, across the street from my community, there's this neighborhood and they have a trail. And I don't know if it's some kid or some teenagers, they paint these little colored rocks and they put inspirations on each of the rock. And I call it my inspiration alley. Yeah, they put these inspirations. And every time I would go out there, I would see something that say like, you're loved, you're needed, you have purpose, have faith. And I know it's a child that's doing it, but it was ministering to me. And it's like the Lord, every time I went out there with some different rocks, and the Lord was using that to make me identify this is bigger than you. Even the people who are putting these expectations on you, they're putting expectations on you to be who they want you to be because they haven't become who they are.
Mhm.
People will put their expectations because they haven't reached it, so they want to make you be what they're not.
Wow.
And so when I discovered that, I was like, okay, Lord, show me what it is that I'm supposed to be doing. And this is what he gave me, Pastor Cheryl.
Mhm.
And I shared this on my, on the thing. I've been hurt and I've hurt people. And I don't like how it feels when I'm hurt. And I don't like the after effects when I hurt people. So
Mhm.
I asked God, if you will help me to heal from all the hurt I experienced and to let the people forgive me who I've hurt, I promise I'll never hurt anyone again knowingly. So I went on a journey to always, and I'm not saying be a people pleaser, but to help people heal the God's way and heal intentionally in a way that would not just benefit them, but benefit others.
Mhm.
And in that healing, it becomes we're building each other up. We're winning together. This year I had a women's conference and we titled it the Winner Circle because a winner is not just from the world standpoint. Oh, I got a trophy or I got a bunch of money. I'm winning because I'm surviving.
Yeah.
I'm winning because I'm taking charge of my life. I'm winning because I'm pressing forward. And that was the thing. I want to help people, women, to identify the winner in themselves.
Man, that, yeah. Yeah, and that is so important. I think, as I'm listening to you, most of the women that I talk to and work with, you talked about doing the work, and not just the physical side of the work, but that introspection, that retrospection where you are asking yourself the hard questions. And I think sometimes that can be difficult, and it's something that has to be an ongoing process. It's not something that happens overnight, but I know that it's necessary for us to ask those tough questions and even have a conversation with ourselves.
Oh, yeah. I have to be honest with myself. I was a lot of things about me that I did not like,
Mhm.
you know, um, the negative stuff.
Mhm.
I stopped being negative. Like, you're not going to get me to just sit here and pour out negativity. I was a negative person, but it was coming from a place of hurt,
Mhm.
um, and a place of lack.
Mhm.
Who walks around hurting people? Who walks around being negative? Mostly we hear it said all the time that hurt people hurt people.
Mhm.
And so I realized that I was operating in a place of hurt. So I had to forgive even people who never asked me to forgive them.
Mhm.
And I had to receive the forgiveness that somebody never wanted to give, wanted to ask me for. So when I got to that place, it was just, okay, God, I'm here now. What do I do next? And if I can tell you, and I'm not just saying this, and I'm being totally honest, I'm in such a place of peace and I don't feel like I'm over the top. I'm just going through, Lord, what's next? What do you want me to do? Where do you want me to go? What do you want me to say? I'm not going to get all worked up. I say the serenity prayer a lot. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things that I cannot change. I can't change their behavior, but show me how not to allow that behavior to afflict me. But most of all, show me how not to take on that behavior. And I
Mhm.
got to that place by having a real talk with me. Katina, you jacked up. You got some issues. You need to deal with this. People,
Yeah.
and it's called the circle of life. Eventually, we have to look at ourselves. Why do people keep running off from us? Why do
Mhm.
people not want to deal with us? If you have a track record of the same thing, at some point, you got to look at yourself. And I had to look at myself
Yeah.
because why recycling friends? I'm 49 years old. I don't have no business. Something has to be stable by now. And it meant that I had to start looking at myself to see, was it really me? Was it legit? And I'm going to be honest, some of it was legit. I
Mhm.
just had to be honest.
Yeah. Yeah. And that is, oh my God, that is so important to be transparent with yourself, because what ends up happening sometimes, I think, is we end up in a place where we become frauds in our own lives. We don't even really know who we are because of all of the other stuff that we allow to get it, like you said, get into our minds, and we create these ugly negative mindsets, and then we start attracting some of that ugly stuff, some of that negative stuff that we set up in our, and then we're looking at it like, well, how did I get here? Why is this happening? Well, it's because you've begun to believe the hype. You've fallen into the trap of letting that negativity become a part of your character. And if you're not careful, like you said, you'll start hurting people, and you'll start looking around and you're like, okay, well, why am I surrounded by all of these negative people, or people that every time that I'm with them is always a downer, or we're always talking about somebody, or always, and it's easy sometimes to get into, but then it can be hard to get out of.
It is. I had to change my circle. I know that sounds like so cliches, but I did.
Mhm,
I started hanging around people who were going where I wanted to go,
mhm,
and I started hanging around people who were where I was trying to get.
mhm,
And I'm not saying that I left anybody behind, but it's like, come on, girl, let's go over here. This working over here.
mhm.
And if you don't want to go, I'm just not going to invest my time there
Right.
because I have goals in life and I
Mhm.
have things that, my best friend, she is like the credit guru. You're spending too much money. That's gonna affect your credit. And did you balance your checkbook out? Did you call the light company and see what kind of rates they have? And did you call the phone company and see what kind of deals they have? That's my friend. But you know what? Well, she had work.
Mhm.
My finances increased.
Mhm.
Listen,
Mhm.
because
Mhm.
I took her advice.
Wow.
My life changed. She's the type of person that $40 is what I'm gonna spend on food this week. And if I call her Friday and say, "Hey, let's go out to eat," no, I spent my $40 for the week. We can't go. That's her. So
Wow.
I
That's
know
some
if I want
discipline.
to. Ooh, she disciplined. So I know if I want to get with her, I got to get her before she spend her $40.
Right.
But it made me realize she was saving her money to do the real things that she wanted to do in life.
Right.
And
Right.
her credit, I'm gonna tell on her credit score is like above 800.
Wow.
Mine wasn't there, but I'm getting there because I started taking on it. So I'm saying spiritually,
Mhm.
there was a place I wanted to be spiritually. So I had to hang around those people who were not just talking it, but
Mhm.
they were living it. And
Mhm.
their actions were speaking, and I saw it working. Those were the people I started grabbing hold to because apparently the ones I was hanging with, I wasn't going nowhere. So and they say she acted funny. No, I got things I need to do in life. I'm not getting any younger. I'm gonna be
Yeah.
50 next year. That's half a century. I'm almost there. So I need to be doing things. I have kids and grandkids, and I shouldn't be doing the same stuff that I was doing. Something has to change. So I
Yes.
started hanging around people who represented that change.
Yeah. Yeah. I think I heard it said that you can't take counterfeit people to the real places that God wants you to go. And that, at the end of the day, that's what it's about. And if you're not meant to go with me, then, I'm not, trying to be ugly or standoffish, but it's just,
Oh,
it's this next level, kind of thinking. And I like your quote that you have. It says the only way that your situation will ever change is for you to get up and do something about it. And that's the truth.
yeah,
That's the truth. Nobody else can change it for you. Nobody else can move you to where you're trying to go but you. And the only person that can stay, three people, I say, me, myself, and I. Only people that can stand in the way of me getting to where I'm trying to go. I can't allow anybody else to do that.
there's a it's an R&B song. Don't throw me away. Tamia, Tamia sings a song called Me, and she
Mhm.
says, "And her name is Me, and I love her more than you'll ever know." And I sing that song a lot
Mhm.
because I say nobody's gonna take care of me like me.
Yeah.
Nobody's ever going to cheer me on like me. And nobody can accomplish anything for me that I want. So I had to make up in my mind to be intentional about me.
Yeah.
I'm intentional about everybody else. I had to be intentional about me, just like when they gave me the diagnosis. I couldn't sit there and wait for the doctor to fix it. I probably would still be in the situation. So
Mm.
I had to get up and I had to do something spiritually. There was something that I knew I wanted from God, and that was a place I wanted to go. So I had to get serious about my relationship with God and stop being so spiritually carnal. you know,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
had to decide which one I was going to be. And I chose to be the spiritual aspect, the spiritual side, because I wanted to be good, mind, body, and spirit. I
Yeah.
didn't just want a portion of it. I wanted it. And so taking charge of my health, people don't realize when your health is not intact, your mind is
Yeah.
not intact and
Yeah.
your spirit is not intact. So I had to target the health part so that my mind could be right and so my spirit could be right. If I'm just gonna say this, I am happiest right now than I've
Mhm.
been my entire life.
Wow.
I've been my entire life.
Wow.
I am so I used to have to take melatonin to go to sleep
Oh,
because my mind was so jacked up.
yeah.
I battled depression. That's a whole nother thing. I battled depression to the point of being suicidal.
Wow.
Just 13 years ago, I wanted to take my life.
Mm.
And so the place that I'm at now, I'm in such a great place in life. And when I see the spirit of depression trying to come, I know how to target it
Yeah.
because I'm in tune, mind, body, and spirit. Don't think that the battle don't come.
Mm.
I was sharing with my husband the other day, just this year, I had two instances where I had to go sit on the couch. And I was
Wow.
like, look, I'm dealing with this. And I finally told him, I'm not coming back here because you're not telling me nothing. You just sitting here letting me tell you what I'm doing with. And that was another thing that made me say, Lord, it's me and you. I
Yeah.
ain't giving about
Yeah.
$125. It's me and
Yes.
you. Let's talk about this. And it was the Lord that helped me here. Now, some people need a therapist. I'm not saying that.
Hmm.
Don't if you need it. But
Hmm.
to me, it became bigger because I think my issue was spiritual. It wasn't depression, it was spiritual.
Right, right. Well, Lady K, it has been amazing talking to you. What's going on in your life? What's happening in the future? What you got going on?
Right now, I'm working on my calendar with my women's ministry and with church. Every year, December, we have our women's conference the first weekend in December, and that's a major thing for us. We have women literally who come from all over to come to the conference. But right now, my thing is really trying to build, asking God to show me how He wants to use me in this season of my life to help build women, mind, body, and spirit. That's my thing right now.